To help the YouTube algorithm understand the audience you're trying to target for your business, you need to actually verbally include in your videos phrases which, 1, associate with the topic your channel covers, 2, use words that commonly appear in other similar creators' videos, 3, avoid using words which are completely irrelevant and might encourage YouTube to recommend your videos to the wrong audience, and there's also a 4th verbal keyword strategy, which turns out is the most important one of them all, which I'll go into in like 2 minutes time. By the way, I'm Archer, and I've gotten hundreds of millions of YouTube views across a dozen different niches, and I live and breathe YouTube audience targeting strategies for educational creators and entrepreneurs. So verbal signaling is one of the 3 main ways YouTube gauges what type of content your video is and who it's for. YouTube does this because they realized like 6 years ago that written keywords in descriptions and titles, aka SEO, was too easy to manipulate and not a reliable indicator of what a video's content was, but the actual content itself, i.e. the words spoken in the videos, was a good reflection of it. Here's how I know that's true and proof that what I'm about to teach you actually works in practice. One of my YouTube coaching clients, Price Action Labs, had way too many viewers from poor countries, as you can see from this video ad overview. He didn't want those viewers because they couldn't afford his high-ticket coaching program. So once he started working with me, the first thing we did was carefully curate his speech patterns in videos, and with just that change alone, he was able to reduce the viewers from poor countries by over 50%, and he quadrupled the number of viewers from wealthier countries. Oh, and he seems to be pretty happy with the results. So we also know this strategy works because every YouTube video is analyzed to create automated captions and AI voiceover translation, and to identify places or topics in the video which are then automatically mentioned in the description, and to check if anything is said in the video that violates YouTube's terms of service. Because of all of that, we can confidently say YouTube is listening to your video, and it's the main piece of context that YouTube uses to understand what your video is about. So how do you actually know what the right keywords to say are? Because it's not as simple as just blurting out phrases relating to the topic that your video is about. Well, the easiest way to find out what keywords are best for you to say in your videos is by extracting the transcript from your competitors' YouTube videos using a free tool like YouTube Transcript.io or the Glasp Chrome extension, and then copy-pasting the transcript into a free word analyzer like Word Counter. This will show you the most commonly used single, double, and 3-word phrases, and you should pick out the most relevant ones and commonly occurring ones and then apply them to your videos and include them in your scripts. This will help YouTube connect the dots that your video is similar to your competitor's video and help YouTube target viewers with the right interest. However, the most important part of this process is the 4th verbal keyword strategy that I alluded to earlier, which is to further refine the audience that YouTube shows the video to by describing your target age group, gender, and the countries your viewers are from in every video. I realized this when I made a video a few months back, referring to a certain Eastern country 4 or 5 times, even though that video was actually about a fictional American person. What happened was, because I said the name of that country repeatedly, YouTube showed that video to lots of people from that country. This was really surprising to me because none of the other videos on my channel had any views from people from that country. So it just goes to show how powerful this can be and how it clearly gives YouTube an idea of who your videos are for, and that if you do this incorrectly, you could get the totally wrong audience on your videos. So curating your speech this way also has an added benefit for your viewers, which is to quickly validate for them if your video is actually specifically made for them. That's why in my intro I said the audience you are trying to target for your business, not just the audience you are trying to target, because if I'd stopped on the word target, it would be left open to the viewer's interpretation about whether I meant entrepreneurs, creators, or whoever else posts YouTube videos. So before you put your verbal keyword strategy into practice, you need to actually be able to label your viewer and customer avatar properly. An easy way to do this is just describe your ideal viewer and customer verbally to yourself, and then afterwards break it down into viewer characteristics, which you can intentionally signal to the YouTube algorithm to target, and you can signal to the viewer directly with things like titles and thumbnails. For example, I would describe my ideal customer like this. My ideal customer is a man who owns a small business and has disposable income and wants to grow that business with educational YouTube content and is currently struggling to do so. See, in that sentence, I'm able to pick out a gender, a rough age group, since entrepreneurs with disposable income are all adults over the age of 25, realistically, and I can pick out a career and personality profile, which I can use as a proxy for what content my intended audience watch on YouTube. I also established their financial status, so now I know to focus my videos towards people in wealthier countries like the USA, Canada, and the UK, since that will help me later when I'm trying to sell an affordable yet high-ticket YouTube coaching offer. So the final part of that customer description I gave was and is currently struggling to do so. This speaks to one of my viewers' pain points, which I'm trying to solve in my videos, and I can therefore target that in my titles and thumbnails. So once you've described your viewer avatar, you just need to be able to find where your potential viewers are on YouTube and place your content in that same space and make sure the right people click and the wrong ones don't. So the audience that you want to watch your videos can be found in a few places. Firstly, on the videos of creators that cover topics that are up or downstream from the products that you sell. In my case, that means my potential customers also watch videos about content marketing, sales strategies, email marketing, building a personal brand, and website creation, because those are all relevant to someone who posts content on YouTube to grow their online business. So you need to map out all of the upstream, downstream, and adjacent areas to your business and start to study content that covers those topics. We'll call these reference channels. Secondly, you can find your target audience directly on competing business owners' YouTube channels who post content that is a direct overlap with your business area. So my direct competitors are other coaches like Ed Lawrence, who makes videos about how educational business owners can grow their business through YouTube. So how do you actually find all of these reference channels? If you go into a popular recent video on your channel, then into analytics and reach, you'll find this section called content suggesting this video, driving traffic to your video, and you'll see if the viewers who came from those creators' videos gave you good analytics or not. What you're looking for here is examples of videos which are a good match with the content you make, as well as seemingly having an audience that is in the right age bracket and from the right countries, and also gives you a high click-through rate. Those videos and channels will serve as a good model of the right kind of title and thumbnail presentation to attract the right audience. But you can't always copy others, so you need to understand how to actually achieve this with original ideas. Now, targeting the right gender is obvious, so we'll gloss over that and go straight into the challenging part, which is, of all the people who are interested in the niche you are in, how do you actually signal with a title and thumbnail correctly to the right people so they're the ones who are clicking and watching your videos, are the type of people who would also be likely to buy what your business sells? Because not everyone who wants to watch your content is going to be a good match for you as a business owner. Doing this successfully is a matter of language, messaging, and packaging, which is why earlier I suggested that you actually find your competitors that are up and downstream, because that will help you have a good starting point. Language has a major impact on the age group of people who click on your videos. For example, if I made a video about how business owners could generate more sales with YouTube and I wanted to target a young audience, I would title the video "How Entrepreneurs Can Print with This YouTube Glitch." But if I wanted to target an older audience, I'd have titled the video "The Exact System to Generate Sales with YouTube." See, the critical difference here is, even though it's the same video topic, the words younger entrepreneurs use to describe parts of the business world and YouTube, like print and glitch, varies massively to older entrepreneurs who use more academic words. Then the next step is messaging. So if I take that example from earlier and change the phrasing to "how to make an extra $100 a day on YouTube by selling," the underlying message now speaks to an audience of people who are likely desperate to make some cash, which would be problematic if you're trying to sell an expensive product or a high-ticket service. Again, this title could be for the exact same video, but the messaging attracts a completely different type of viewer, because an established entrepreneur probably doesn't think about their business in terms of extra dollars per day, and if they did, it certainly wouldn't be in the $100 range. So they would think in broader time horizons and would think in terms of more specific problems they have with their business, which is restricting their ability to make that extra $3K per month, aka $100 a day. If you go to some of your reference channels' comment sections, you'll actually be able to figure out from the commenters' username, profile, and how they actually write their messages, what age group and demographic they roughly fit into. And what you'll notice is you can map those age groups onto the type of language and messaging that was used in the title. So you'll want to discard from your reference group of channels any channel that appears to have a distinctly different audience to yours, or that is i.e. has either the wrong age group, gender, or demographic. Once you understand the right language and messaging to use, you need to have a think about packaging and how to use it to signal to the right people to click on your videos. And if you guys want any help with that, click the link at the top of the description and we can just hop on a call and I'll help you get more views from the right target audience quickly. Anyway, packaging is the connectivity between your title, thumbnail, and hook. Broadly speaking, the more you overload your thumbnail with fonts, colors, graphics, and so on, and loads of saturation, you'll have a younger audience. That's why all of the crypto gurus have really intensely colored, overly processed thumbnails, because their audience is typically under 25, and the messaging is the creator trying to excite the viewer about some crypto trend, not actually educate them. The same goes for a MrBeast video. However, the more practical and hands-on your video is, the more you should signal that in your title and thumbnail. So in your thumbnail, you could show exactly what is being discussed in the video, whether it's a diagram, a chart, or a piece of software. This way your viewer knows what kind of video medium and content to expect when they actually click. Like if I was going to make a music production tutorial, I would show that I'm using Logic by showing assets from that software that the viewer is familiar with. That could be the main screen, it could be a waveform, or if I want it to be super minimal, it could just be the logo plus a couple of words. But remember, this has to link to your title in some way. So if you do have a very vague thumbnail, like just the logo of some software plus your own face, then your title can't also be vague because the viewer doesn't know what the video is about. On the flip side of that, if you have a really creative title that's catchy and slightly abstract, like to take that music example earlier, I made a goosebump inducing sound that will bring your ex back, then you should have a very concrete thumbnail which makes it clear to the viewer what the video is actually about and what the video medium is. The idea here being that titles and thumbnails complement each other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to match.